What's up, guys? Part 3 of rebuilding the Harley Davidson CV carburetor. Now, I know on my previous videos I did ultrasonic clean everything, and if you guys don't have one of those, that's okay, because if you watch those two videos of disassembling everything, some of the cleaners that I recommend using for this job may not be available at your local motorcycle shop or parts store. So what I do recommend getting online, or if you live near a Yamaha dealer, is the Yamalube combustion chamber cleaner. Now, this stuff is by far the best carburetor cleaner out there. It's going to get rid of all the carbon inside the throat of the carburetor. I mean, it just makes it spotless. Nothing really against the traditional carburetor cleaners. I've just found that they don't work as well as that combustion chamber spray. So once you have everything disassembled, what you're going to want to do, if you don't have a ultrasonic cleaner, is just spray the combustion cleaner in the air fuel screw, the main jet, the slow jet, and the choke inlet, or what Harley calls the enrichment. And then you're also going to want to spray it inside the float seat here, and let it sit for about 10 minutes, and then obviously go back with shop air, blow out all the orifices, and get all the carbon and varnish and old gasoline out of there. And then as far as the throat, you can just spray it in here and then wipe that out. Same goes for here on the top. But as you can see, guys, the ultrasonic cleaner does wonders. So again, it's one of those things, if you're going to be doing carburetors, a couple a year, I would definitely invest in it. It is something that I have found makes this process the most efficient with cleaning, and it does a great job. So just something to keep in mind there. Also, the bowl, you're going to want to spray your combustion cleaner all in the bowl. Let it sit for a few minutes. The nozzle jet for the the accelerator pump, there's a little hole at the top right here. Now, sometimes this can get clogged up. Now, if that does get clogged up, you're not going to want to go and stick a drill bit in there to try to clean that out, because if you change the diameter of that, it's going to change the amount of fuel that comes out of there. So the trick that I have for cleaning those is, if you have just a wire brush, and take one of the brushes, just a single one, and very gently go in there and just clean out that little orifice right there. It's probably literally only about 10 thousandths in diameter, so again, be careful. You're going to want to come down here also to the port at the bottom where the accelerator pump diaphragm goes, and if need be, just give it a little just boring essentially, and just cleaning out that little passages. The best thing that's going to work for this is again, using the combustion cleaner and then spraying it with shop air and getting all that out there. You're going to want to spray in that little orifice right there, and you'll actually feel air come out of there. That's how you know that that's completely cleaned. Your float, I believe I talked about it in the other video. You're going to want to check to make sure that this is actually floating. So just put it in your ultrasonic cleaner or throw it in a cup of water. That verifies that that is working correctly. Your diaphragm base plate, sometimes depending on the models, that there's 2 O-rings or 1 O-ring. You're going to want to spray that with your combustion cleaner. You have another orifice here. You're going to want to spray in there, and then take your shop air and spray that all out really well. Coming over to your main jet, you're going to want to spray down inside your emulsion tube that holds your main jet. You're going to want to spray inside there. You're going to notice there's small holes on there. Spray all those out, and then hit it with shop air. Then you're going to want to take this and look up at the light. You want to be able to look through all of those holes, and that's how you know those are all cleaned. Same goes with your slow jet. You're going to want to take a little spray, a little shop air, and blow through that. Same thing goes for these guys. You're not going to want to take a drill bit or anything like that to try to change this diameter. Just take one of those wire brush single strands and kind of just very gently poke at it and clean it out. These will get completely clogged and your motorcycle just will not run at all. Another thing, if your motorcycle only runs on choke, that slow jet is clogged up. Now, if this diameter of this brush that you're using is too thick, you can even go as far as getting a little piece of stranded wire and then take that single wire and put that in there. That also works pretty well too. You got your jet needle here. You're going to want to clean that out. Same goes with the combustion cleaner. Spray both ends of it. Hit it with shop air. Your air fuel screw. Got to be careful with these because the tips can break off, and if they do break off, you have to buy a new one. So what I like to do is just literally spray a little bit of cleaner on this and then just wipe it with a paper towel. That cleans that really well. Other than that, that's about as far as you have to go with as far as cleaning parts. You can clean the cap, throw it in the ultrasonic cleaner if you want. Again, if you don't have an ultrasonic cleaner, no really need to use the combustion cleaner. Dawn dish soap will work perfect for that. You can clean that up. Other than that, the spring, they typically don't get dirty. If they do, if get all corroded for whatever reason, I would just go ahead and replace it because the last thing you want this thing to do is break, because if it breaks, the carburetor is not going to function correctly. Some things to keep in mind when you do disassemble these, you always want to use a stock spring. There's a lot of Chinese springs out there where the gauge is thinner and the overall length is smaller. I've never really seen them larger, but the overall length of an OEM spring is 5 3/4, give or take a 1/16. You're going to want to measure yours. That's how you're going to verify if you have a stock spring. If you don't, order one from Harley. It's going to save you a headache in the future. Now, in my case, I ordered a new diaphragm. Now, you can get these from Harley. This one in particular is from CV Performance. And the reason I like these ones is because they actually make a premium version. And what they mean by that is that the aluminum is actually tumbled, I believe, when they deburr it. So it's almost like essentially polished, to where the OEM one here, you can kind of see there's a big difference in the finish. And the reason that's important is this slides up and down inside of the carburetor. It only goes in one way, so you can't put it in backwards, but when it's sliding during its whole life up and down, it's sliding very nicely. There's no burrs on there. It's essentially polished. Now, if I didn't buy this one, which I recommend replacing them over time, because what happens is, this is a brand new one, 9 times out of 10, your old one is going to have like backfiring marks in there. Now, if this diaphragm has any tears, pinches, holes in it, absolutely replace it. You cannot reuse this. But, you know, a lot of these carburetors are 20 years old. So if you're already this far into it, I recommend just replacing them. Just putting them up in the light and verifying if there is any tears is an easy way to see if it's still good. But again, if you got big burns on it, if the rubber's worn out, if there's any gouging in the side of these walls, you know, it's time to go. Also, a lot of people will drill out this hole on the bottom here. It's the vacuum hole. Now, if this hole is an 1/8 inch, that means it's been drilled out because somebody's used like a Dynajet kit. And as you guys know, I'm against all of those. It's just something that the tuning kit tells you to do when you purchase it. So if that's bigger than an 1/8 or an 1/8, that's how you know that that hole's been drilled out. I believe the stock size is 9/64. It's not 100% sure on that, but either way, if you measure that hole and it's an 1/8 inch, that's how you know it's been drilled out. But again, this one's pretty beat up. If you were to reuse this, what you would want to do is take some steel wool and have some right here. take some steel wool and actually polish this up really, really spend some time on this and polishing it. And then once you get done with that, I go a step further and get my file out, and I file all of these edges and even like the casting marks, because this is cast aluminum, and I get rid of all of those casting marks. Same for down here. Kind of just roll these edges over, roll them over a little bit. And what that allows it to do is just slide up and down inside the carburetor a lot better and not drag, because the last thing you want this thing to do is, hang up and stick. The carburetor is not going to work correctly. Now, I have found that the Chinese versions of these are heavier, not allowing them to move up and down under vacuum. That is also a huge problem. So if you're having any type of issues where the carburetor isn't revving correctly, or if it's backfiring, or just not like picking up an idle when you blip the throttle or something, there's a good chance that this diaphragm could be worn out, or there's just a Chinese one in there. Now, I only recommend 2 different manufacturers. That's Harley OEM and CV Performance. Now, they do make it, like I said, the premium version, and they do make a regular version. Again, you can go about however you want with purchasing those, but do not purchase one of these on Amazon. eBay, if it is from eBay, make sure it's an OEM one. Extremely important. I can't stress that enough. With that being said, now that you have everything cleaned up, the carburetor rebuild kit, there's a couple brands that I like out there. Drag Specialty makes a good one. James's Gasket makes another good one. Now, I do know you can buy these individual gaskets and whatnot from Harley, but it's best just to get the rebuild kit because they typically come with everything. I really only recommend OEM Drag Specialty, James's Gasket, and there's another cycle brand out there that I forget the name of that I used to buy from Jets R Us, but I believe they stopped manufacturing those kits. But make sure you're buying a good reputable kit. I do know this one is made in Taiwan, but they hold the standard of the quality and the specifications for the gaskets and the O-rings and everything needed to make the job not leak, or the surfaces of the gaskets not fit correctly. So keep that in mind. The super cheap eBay ones, they're going to bite you in the ass every time, because the fitment of the quality and the specifications and the tolerances are just not there in those gaskets. So keep that in mind when purchasing a new kit.